there is something about pushing through and the show must go on. And really, honestly, one of the big things that I have noticed in working with agents and high performers and high performing business owners is that they also have this skill too. They are able to be completely broken, receive the most tragic and terrible news, and go into a listing presentation within the next hour.
You're listening to Elevate, the official podcast of Elite Agent for real estate industry sales professionals, property managers and leaders. We are proud to present Courageous Conversations, a podcast series focusing on the tough decisions people have made to put themselves on a pathway to success. This episode is brought to you by Connect Now, who makes the business of moving easier for both you and your clients. For more information, visit connectnow.com.au. Please welcome your host, Leanne Pilkington.
Hey everyone, Leanne Pilkington here with another Courageous Conversation. And I'm so excited to have my very good friend, Sherrie Storor, with me. Hey, Sherrie, how are you? I know you're taking you're the social media queen, aren't you? You're so good at it.
I love it. Well, look, it's a part of our jobs, right? Right. This is part of personal promotion. But hi, really nice to see you, Leanne.
I want you to do a photo shoot with me. I look at your photo shoots and think, oh gosh, she is so good. And then I do them and it's just a little bit awkward. And I had to laugh. I did have a corporate photo shoot done the other day. And the photographer said, okay, now can we see one without you smiling? And it's like, well, we can try, but I need to warn you, I've got a resting bitch face when I'm not smiling. And so that's, I look terrible when I'm not smiling. So lucky I'm a happy person, right?
Well, I think this is the thing when we're doing photo shoots, you need to know what works for you. And I must admit, whilst I don't have resting bitch face, I guess it comes down to how tired I am. Yeah. But, my natural state is when I'm smiling is to over smile. And so that doesn't look good either. So you've got to kind of work out what works.
Try and balance it.
I'll be up for a photo shoot with you though, any day.
Yeah, okay. I've got a few reasons to be in Queensland, so I'll let you know. You'll laugh at this. We got some feedback when, as you know, myself and a group of others bought Lang & Simmons in early 2021, and I know, so excited. Best decision I ever made. Maybe I need you to do a Courageous Conversation with me.
I'd love that.
Yeah,
Turn
let's
the
do
tables.
That. Yeah, let's do that. And we asked for feedback on how everybody across the Lang & Simmons brand were feeling about about the new ownership and all that sort of stuff. And feedback that I got from one person was that Leanne is too happy. She smiles too much.
Oh, stop it.
Sorry.
You can't please everyone, Leanne.
No, it's so true. It's so true. Now, this is the second time we've chatted on this podcast series, and you were my number 2 interview. And it was actually a really difficult conversation, really, because, I think most people know your sort of history from a work perspective. You worked really hard, very successful, lost it all, and had to reinvent yourself, right? So if people don't know that story, go back to episode 2, Courageous Conversations, and we can fill you in. But also, personally, you've gone through this fertility issue, right? Babies, no baby, obviously you married your gorgeous husband. What is it now, 3 years ago?
Yeah, 3 years. We actually just renewed our vows. Yeah.
Yeah, gorgeous. Congratulations. And so desperate to have a baby, and it was a real struggle for you, right? You went down the IVF path. Yeah,
look, it definitely has been. I think, I obviously always thought I'd be a parent. As we talked about in the last podcast, I thought that I would be a single parent because I was single for 10 years, and that was never of concern to me. My mum was a single parent, and so I just always thought, okay, well, I'll have children at 40. I'll totally focus on my career. I'd focused on my businesses, and it was all about really rebuilding myself. And so when it come to, getting the advice when I was a 37-year-old woman about, doing my check in terms of my fertility and finding out, hey, listen, I've got a very slim chance of being able to have children. It was massive. It was very confronting, and it didn't really sink in, that message. And so, we've done now.
Not like you not to believe when people tell you can't do something. I'm shocked.
Look, I think that's actually been a lesson in itself, because I'm always able to turn it around, make it happen. Like, I'm a make it happen person as you are.
Yeah.
And so actually physically not being able to do something when you want it to happen so badly, so desperately, is really challenging. And, we've done 18 rounds of IVF, which is a lot.
Wow, I had no idea it was that much. Lovely.
Yeah,
My goodness. That's a lot.
So it has been, it's like it's been the best of times, but it's also been the worst of times. And, the best of times is, yes, my business has grown and has flourished. I've been in a lovely relationship, as you say, married, but at the same time too, wanting to have a family, and I wanted to have 4 children, has been really hard. And I think, where Jason and I are lucky that it's brought us together, because it's not always the case for a lot of others. And just trying to think about and reimagine what our lives look like without children, because my whole life, like a lot of people, it was always about having a family and focusing on what that vision and what that picture was going to look like. And not just as somebody who's in their, 30s or in their 40s, but also like what it looked like to have grandchildren, and what Christmas time, for example, looked like having grandchildren. So, and I imagine, when all my friends are having grandkids, I'm going to be going through a different stage of loss again. So we were very much looking down surrogacy. We still have 2 embryos that are on ice. We had some surrogates who, pulled the pin literally a week before we're about to begin. And that was another stage of loss, another stage of mourning. And so, it has been a difficult time. It's been difficult pumping yourself through hormones. And, really truthfully, and I haven't admitted this publicly, but Leanne, if we look back to 2019 doing the my breakfast series in Sydney, which you've obviously spoken at along the years and through the series too. But that was a really difficult time, because I was actually struggling with anxiety. And you know me really well to know that doesn't seem like a personality trait for me. I've never had that throughout my whole life. And so to be around a whole lot of people, let alone in a room full of 200 people, and have to stand on stage and host an event and take photos with everyone when I was really struggling to be around people, it was a challenge. So it's been hard along the way, but I'm also grateful for what I've learned, and that is that, this life lesson of you can't have everything. Maybe halfway through my life, it's a good one to learn. I don't know. Anyway, it's the way that it is. So you've got to accept to move forward.
I'm fascinated because you're working on your own, really, as a sort of a solo business person. I know you have some support there, but it's really you driving everything in your business, the growth and doing the coaching work and building training and, right?
Yes.
How do you actually do that when you're going through 18 rounds of IVF and suffering from anxiety? How do you actually, that is a courageous conversation to have with yourself, right? How do you go about that?
Well, there is something about pushing through, and the show must go on. And really, honestly, one of the big things that I have noticed in working with agents and high performers and high performing business owners is that they also have this skill too. They are able to be completely broken, receive the most tragic and terrible news, and go into a listing presentation within the next hour and, push it all aside. And I think real estate for a lot of us has been our crutch. It's always been the thing that we're able to go back to. It's that work, and we're able to move forward until we're actually ready to be able to process it. It's if you choose not to process it, things become quite challenging at some point, because it starts to pop up when you're not quite ready to kind of deal with it. So I think it is important to, to go and do the hard work, unpack it all, look at it. But I think it is about digging deep when you need to. I do have a team now of 6 in my business, and we do have a lot of other people that work externally with me as well, in terms of content creators and copywriters and so forth. But in-house, we've got videographers and digital marketing assistants and operation managers and bookkeepers and so forth. But look, it has been great. And I was very careful to preserve myself and to love myself during this time, and to be really caring. So what that meant for me was working from home and working in a space where I could just be myself and I felt protected. So that was really important. I feel like now that is over, that part's behind me. And so I've, opened an office. I'm in an office.
I saw that on social media. Yeah.
it's pretty glamorous, pretty fab.
Yeah.
But, you know, I now have people around me and I'm really comfortable in doing that. So I think it's just recognizing what you need at that time, leaning into that,
Yeah.
you know, also leaning into what you need to do in order to make your business work. And for me, obviously, I've been in a startup. You know, we're 4 years old now, but it's then, okay, well, when the time is right and when you have unpacked it and when you're feeling a lot more like yourself, then it's time to go at it. And last year through COVID, it was a blessing for me because it was an opportunity not to get on a plane and to not travel and to do, you know, people leaned into doing Zoom.
Can I tell you,
workshops.
I loved it too. I mean, you know how much I travel as well. And I was so happy being at home. It was like, I felt like I didn't even know myself.
Well, Leanne, you are someone, I've said to you many times, I don't know how you do it. Like, you are a machine. But I think for me, I just worked 2 weeks out of 4 and I didn't do as many projects as what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I took my foot off the accelerator and I just went into cruise control. And so, you know, this year that means that we're back in turbo and we're back in moving forward. But, you know, that was a great opportunity for me to embrace what I personally needed in, you know, in my being, in addition to business.
And it's really important to know what that is for you, right? Not everybody really does know what recharges them. So that is really, it's really important. For me, it can be as simple as spending an hour on the weekend over lunch reading a book.
Yeah.
Like not a workbook, nothing that, you know, I'm going to learn anything from, just a, you know, something to entertain me. So it's really important to know what recharges you. It's a time, you know, people are looking at, you know, reflecting on the year that's gone, and across the country, it's been mental from a real estate perspective. What do we need to do? What are the conversations we actually need to have with ourselves to kind of level up and have an awesome 2022?
Look, as you know, this is one of the things that I'm so passionate about. And, you know, part of the reason why I decided to become a coach was to help people to embrace what their best life is, both in and outside of real estate. And if we want to have this great life outside of real estate, it means we need to get really bloody good at our jobs. We really need to harness our skill sets. We need to make every single second of the day count. We need to put systems and structures in. We need to build teams. We need to build our profiles. And, you know, that then gives us the ability of, you know, making wealth, making bank, which gives us freedom and it gives us choice. And a lot of people that I see in the industry, it's always hustling and grinding.
Yeah. And
that has been what has been acceptable in our industry. And not only just acceptable, but what is imperative.
Celebrated.
Yep, that's celebrated and the expectation.
Yeah.
And that is just thinking that is so far beyond, you know, where we're at in society today, yet we haven't really moved the needle, you know, from our point of view. And I know we talk about this a lot, that, you know, we're stuck in the 80s. Well, we need to get with the program and we need to do what society is doing today, right? Yeah. So this concept of hustling and grinding, it just no longer needs to be the case. So I think what we need to do is we need to be open to changing and understanding that there is a different way besides just getting in there and just constantly like picking up the phone and cold calling and just burning and losing the joy out of real estate, because I see a lot of people are also, you know, they're working day to day without any joy. And helping people, and most people in this industry are not just driven about the money, but they're service providers. They really want to help people on their property journey. Yeah. They love it, right? They absolutely love it. So, but when you are in this kind of moment or in this career of just working and toiling and it's not fun. And so, you know, I think we've got to put that joy back and we've got to start to celebrate it. And part of that means balance. So how do we take back that time? I think it is.
You're not going to talk to me about work-life balance. Me. Give me a break.
Well, it's interesting because today actually just came out on Elite Agent an article that I was I think I was interviewed for in 2017, talking about working really hard at Christmas time. And personally, when I was an agent, I used to absolutely smash it at Christmas. And I remember, and I was talking to one of my team members, Mel, who we've been working together on and off for 10 years. And she was my PA at that time. And she said, yeah, I remember like you just smashing it one year and selling 18 properties like over that festive break. And I was like, yeah, babe, like we were on. So I think, you've got to look at what works in your marketplace.
In your market, totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
If right now you need to have a break, if you're burnt out, if you're crispy, you need to go and have one in order to be able to celebrate what you're going to be able to do in 2022.
Yeah.
If you are good to go and if the time is now, you keep turning through, but take a break at another time that's more appropriate.
Yeah.
So I think we need to be open to being agents of change, and I think we need to understand that the time is now.
So what do we need to do? I mean, obviously, we all know, in theory, real estate's a numbers game.
Yeah.
You've got to make the calls, you've got to nurture the relationships, and over time, the business will come. It's like a plane going down a runway, right? It takes a lot of momentum to get it up, but when it's up, you can maintain it. What do we need to do differently?
The first part I would say is mindset. So understanding that what buyers and sellers are looking for is completely different to what it once was. So where they're looking for property is in different places. It's on social media, it's digitally. They're looking for agents who are working their database. So they're quite prepared to sell off market as well as on market.
Yeah.
They want an agent who on top of all of that has a very engaged audience when it comes to social media. So I think that, building this celebrity profile is really imperative today. And there are so many agents that sort of say, okay, well, social media is something that's standalone. That is not the case. It needs to be incorporated into all of your systems, into all of your processes. And you can't just hire a social media manager who's just going to go there and just suddenly make it happen. You really need to put your personality into it too. So I think that that's really important. I think building your celebrity profile is not just about what's social media. It's also about, dominating the letterbox and, people seeing you also in real life. So I think it's those things. Yeah. I also think it's about automating processes. Yeah. And whilst we're in a service industry, that will always require us to be face-to-face and be on the phone. There's a lot that we can do behind the scenes with our CRMs and with our databases and with our newsletters where, automatically, things are going out in terms of our text messages to nurture buyers and to nurture sellers. So, there's a whole lot of this automation that is possible, that is tech today that people are not doing.
I know, it's amazing to me that how many people don't take advantage of all of that. But I think it is important, you are not going to develop the kind of business you want hiding behind digital, social, letterbox drops. You do have to, at some stage, connect human to human, right?
1000%. And I think that persona of what they have seen digitally or in the letterbox also needs to be represented in real life, right? So that needs to ring true and it needs to be authentic to you. And, I think we've been trying so hard to be perfect as an industry for so long, being these two-dimensional kind of agents, but there's no heart behind it. People want to deal with a person, with an individual, with someone they can relate to. So I think, it's about actually stripping that back and saying, okay, I don't want to be this caricature anymore. I actually want to be a real person, because we know that that's what people want to do business with. They want to do business with someone who's like them, that they relate to, because they trust people more than they do brands.
Yeah, they do. That's so true. There are a lot of high profile, particularly male agents that I don't necessarily think are providing a great role model for guys getting into the industry. I'm not going to mention any names. They're very successful. I cannot argue that they've got a whole lot more money than I'll ever have, right? But I just think that sometimes the message that people get about the industry is, I don't know, it makes me uncomfortable. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more. As you know, this is one of my personal missions, to change how the marketplace views agents. And unfortunately, there's a few that are on this kind of narrative that the media loves to pick up on. Now, I think we need to remember what's really important. And as an industry, we're very focused on numbers. So we love to, look at these agents and hold these agents up that might have 50,000 followers or more, right? But realistically, what is that going to do to have commercial gain into your business? I would say that.
I actually checked one that had a lot of followers, and they were all of those random names that aren't real.
Yes, exactly.
And so
they probably bought their following.
I think, perception is a very interesting thing.
But I think too, if you've got all of these people, the reality is that that's more a vanity metric, right? It's not the commercial gain, because commercial gain is engaged people who are in your marketplace who are going to be buying and selling property from you.
Yeah, so you could do more business with 500 genuine local followers than 50,000 people telling you how fabulous your new car is.
I could not agree more. So I think that this is really important. And I think we've got to kind of change, because the more that the marketplace sees us as a trusted profession, which I know is something that you've been driving really hard on, but, then I think we will be feeling, a lot more comfortable in terms of our skins and in terms of, people respecting us as an industry. The other change that I think is really important is one we've been talking about, which is, this non-hustling and non-grinding, and instead taking our time back, because we have put the right systems and structures in place. So I think having a system for your listing presentation, having a system in place for how we follow that up, having a system for how you leverage your listings instead of making cold calls and instead focusing on warm calls. What we do in terms of getting testimonials, what we do, after somebody has actually settled on a property, thinking about that it's not just about this one transaction and it's kind of this burn and churn approach, but instead about what can we do to really get 20 transactions over the course of your career and their property journeys from your buyers and sellers.
Yeah, it's really, and it's one of those things that we never have time, right, to have a look at how we do things more effectively. We're just on the treadmill and just doing the deal up, particularly the way the market's been. But it really does pay to sort of take time out of your business, as they say, work on the business, not in the business, to take time to put those processes and systems in place and to genuinely feel or think about how you are making people feel throughout all of these parts of the transaction, right?
Well, my biggest recommendation is that you need to slow down in order to speed up. Like, I couldn't have said it better myself, Leanne. Yeah. So, you need to book in a time to catch up with yourself once a week. Yeah. So a lot of my agents, that time is recommended on Monday morning, because you can't do a lot on Monday morning. It sets you up for the rest of the week. You can then work out what it is that you want to achieve in that week. You can have a look at where you're setting with your goals, with your commission, your stock list, all of those sorts of things. And then if you have a team, you can go out and you can, have one-on-one meetings with them and empower them based off what your actions are. But these small incremental changes over a period of time is what makes the difference. And if I look back at, my coaching clients, and over the last, even 12 months, 90% of them have doubled, tripled and quadrupled their revenue. I've got one at 5 times. And these are all successful career agents. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. This is why I love what I do, right? Because and I must admit, at the moment, it's all really fun because we're doing end of year sessions. So we're looking at where they have been and where they are today. And honestly, it's the best ever feeling.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It's so awesome. But I think, this is really important to slow down, understand that if nothing's going to change, nothing's going to change. But listen, if you're open to new ideas, new concepts, and actually implementing some of these structures, then everything is going to be different. And you're going to be one of these agents who are going to be $1 million writers plus and beyond.
Now, I know you've always got exciting things on the go. What are you building for 2022?
I'm really pumped about this year, actually, because for me personally, I have been very focused on one-on-one coaching with a select handful of people. But obviously, as my business is growing now, I can't do that all day, every day. And so this next step of being able to give all of my training and my platforms and my systems and my done-for-you templates, I've been able to put out into the marketplace en masse. So I have literally just launched my first ever online course called $1 Million Agent, which is all self-paced, self-driven. It's a 12-month membership, and literally it has all of this sort of content that has helped, build my business from scratch. As you know, I've done it twice, and my agents. So I'm pretty excited about it. And we launched it actually last week, and in the live launch, which we were doing a training webinar, I had 53 agents sign up right there and then on the spot. So so I'm pretty.
I love that passive recurring revenue. Well done, love. Well done.
It is good, but I think too, it is also exciting because these agents have made a commitment to themselves to do something different, to embrace change, to understand what's working today in today's society, and they're actually it's going to be, huge for them in terms of their revenues, their businesses, and it's going to help them build their best lives, which, I'm all about.
That's your thing.
It's my thing.
Hashtag best life. Build it. That's awesome. Well, I'll jump online and check out the $1 Million Agent. That sounds very, very exciting. And as always, it's so beautiful to catch up with you.
Oh, thank you, Leanne.
Hopefully we'll be able to do it face to face very, very soon.
Oh, I would love that. Well, look, as you know, I'm coming to see you in March, so I'm going to be at the
Women in Real Estate event.
event.
It's going to be an absolute cracker. So I'm excited that you're going to be there. That's reminded me I haven't booked tickets for my team yet. I wonder if they'll still give me the discount.
I'll let you weave your magic on that one.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful day, and thank you so much. It's
Thank you,
it's been
Leanne.
great to catch up.
Great to catch up.
See ya.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Courageous Conversations with thanks to connectnow.com.au. Don't forget to get access to all of Elite Agency's premium resources, including a detailed episode guide for this podcast. Visit joineliteagent.com.